On the night of her wedding, Tamara was buried alive, betrayed, condemned, and left for dead. But the grave could not hold her. The gods had other plans. Now she rises, not as a bride, not for love, but as a reckoning. And those who wronged her will soon learn. The dead do not rest. Tamara stood before the grand mirror in her chambers, the golden embroidery of her wedding gown glistening under the soft candlelight. She was the picture of elegance, the perfect bride. But beneath the layers of silk and tradition, fear gnawed at her bones. Tonight, she would marry Chief Obiora, a man twice her age, a man she did not love. The palace bustled with festivities, yet Tamara felt like a lamb being led to slaughter. Her mother beamed with pride. Her father boasted of the wealth this union would bring, and the elders praised her obedience. But none of them saw the terror in her eyes. None of them heard the screams trapped inside her throat. She had loved once. His name was Nathan, a warrior with laughter as warm as the sun. They had promised each other forever beneath the sacred Iroko tree, where the river whispered secrets only lovers understood, but forever had ended with betrayal. The night before her wedding, Nathan had been captured, accused of conspiring against the kingdom. The punishment was swift, exile, never to return. Tamara wept that night, her heart torn between love and duty. But what choice did she have? To disobey meant ruin. To run meant death. So, she smiled through the pain, accepted the weight of her fate, and walked down the aisle with the grace expected of a princess. The ceremony was a grand affair. Drums thundered, voices rose in celebration, and the kingdom cheered. Chief Obiora placed the sacred coral beads around her neck, sealing their union. She was now his wife. That night, as the village drank and danced, she was led to her husband's chambers. Tamara's heart pounded, the walls closed in, but before the night could unfold as expected, the doors burst open. Nathan stood there, breathless, his body covered in the dust of the journey back home. Gasps filled the room. Guards unsheathed their swords, but Nathan did not cower. "You were promised to me," he said, his voice steady despite the fury that burned in his eyes. "You dishonor my wife," Chief Obiora thundered, rising to his feet. "She is mine now." Tamara's gaze met Nathan's, and for the first time in weeks, she felt alive. But before she could speak, before she could move, Chief Obiora's hand shot out, striking her across the face. The room blurred. She heard a struggle, the clash of steel, the shouts of men. Then, darkness. She awoke in the stillness of night, the air damp and heavy. Her body ached, her limbs bound. Fear gripped her as she realized where she was, the village burial grounds. The earth beneath her was freshly dug. A priestess stood before her, chanting an incantation. Chief Obiora loomed beside her, his face void of mercy. "She has dishonored me," he declared. "A wife who dares to love another is no wife at all." Terror clawed at her throat as the guards lifted her. She screamed, kicked, begged, but no one listened. No one cared. The priestess's chant grew louder. The earth swallowed her screams, and the night bore witness to her burial. The last thing she saw was the full moon, silent and cold, as the soil fell over her body. The world faded. Then there was nothing. Rain fell in torrents, drenching the land, seeping through the cracks of her shallow grave. Lightning tore across the sky, illuminating the forest in flashes of silver. A single hand broke through the wet earth, fingers clawing, grasping, fighting for life. Tamara emerged, gasping, choking, covered in the soil of death. Her heart thundered in her chest. She should not be here. She should not be breathing. But she was. Stumbling to her feet, she ran. The village lights flickered in the distance. the world had moved on without her. But she had returned, not as the girl who once trembled at the weight of expectation. She had returned as vengeance itself. The festival drums still echoed in the distance as she reached the palace gates. The guards, upon seeing the ghost of the woman they had buried, fled in terror. She moved through the halls like a shadow, silent, unseen, until she reached the throne room. Chief Obiora sat in triumph, his new bride beside him. But as his eyes lifted, as he saw her standing before him, his face twisted in horror. "You cannot be," he stammered. She stepped forward, her voice a whisper of the storm. "Did you think the earth would keep me?" The room fell silent. The air thickened with dread. The villagers gathered, whispering in awe and fear. The priestess, who had cursed her, fell to her knees, unable to speak. Nathan stood at the edge of the room, his eyes wide with disbelief. She turned to him, her heart steady. "I was buried a bride," she said, "but I rise as a queen." The people trembled. The gods had spoken. And Chief Obiora, the man who had condemned her, fell to his knees, begging for mercy. But Tamara had none left to give. And so, the legend was born, the tale of the woman who was buried alive on her wedding night, but came back, not for love, not for revenge, but for her own destiny. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more haunting and powerful tales. Until next time, may the spirits watch over you.